Well, I hope all of you are having a great summer so far. It's been a while since we've had a video out, talked to my Facebook followers. I want to say I appreciate all of y'all. And just sitting around this summer, just waiting for dove season to get here, September 1st, and squirrel season, and get out and do a little bit of hunting, get the rust knocked off for bow season, and start the deer season out. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I haven't really been doing a lot, just kind of waiting around for season. And but I hope all of you are having a great summer. I hope you're catching a lot of fish and having fun. I want to talk about something right quick, and I hope you spare me just a few moments of your time, because as most of you know, and this has been on my heart for some time. Actually, it's been on my heart for quite a while. And but I hope you give me a few minutes of your time. But as most of you probably already seen on Facebook that follow hunting or anything, you know, you've seen about the Wild Game Innovations guy that got caught for poaching elk, and it's a sad deal, you know, it really was. I don't know the guy, I've never really watched their show, because honestly I never did like their show. I didn't like what they had to offer. It was too contrived, too fake, and there's something shady about them people. It really was. But I'm not blasting him, I'm just saying, for me, I just didn't like what they put out. One is, I thought they really give the hunting industry a bad name with their openness of drinking and the curse words they had to bleep out, and the cussing and stuff. I don't think that has a place in the hunting world. You know, I don't condemn anybody that drinks. I don't do it. You know, I don't cuss. I don't drink. You know, I try to live a wholesome Christian life. Don't need it. I get enough high on hunting and fishing. And but you know, I don't condemn anybody that does, but I think you should do it off camera. You shouldn't have it on a show where kids are watching and kids are looking up to you. That's just my opinion. I don't think it has no place. You know, there's not many sports left that's clean, and hunting and fishing is one of them, and they just don't need that. So, you know, if you're going to drink and you're going to smoke and you're going to, you know, cuss, you know, do it off camera. I'm sure most of them do, but you know, most of them do it off camera because it's just not good for kids, because you've always got eyes and ears watching you and looking up to you. All right, so that's just my opinion on that. So when I seen that, you know, I just that just turned me off right there. But I don't know this guy. You know, I really don't. And maybe he's a good man. I don't know. But you know, he's paying for what he did. I don't think he can hunt for 2 years in the United States, and he got fined way up into thousands, $20-some thousand. But why do people do this? Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion, and this has been on my heart for a long time. It really has, and this is something that I think we really need to watch, because this has happened to me. Just, you know, little old me, humble me, you little YouTuber me. And but it happens a lot, and that is the state of the hunting industry, if you want to call it, a hunting sport as we know it. Now, some of you that are going to disagree with this, and I know, and you're entitled to your own opinion, but a lot of these people that are, quote, big game hunters and big trophy hunters and quality deer management and all this stuff, and it mostly happens with deer, and really not turkeys or anything else. It's mostly deer and, you know, antlered animals, you know, more that you see this in. But the deer hunting state of what we have now, I don't like it. I'll just be honest. I love the deer hunt, but I'll be honest with you, what I see on TV and what I see and hear from local hunters and the way people talk, I just don't like it. You know, when I started hunting deer, you know, in the 80s, and the 90s, for me, I think it was a better time in deer hunting. I really do, than what it is now. Yeah, we didn't have as many big deer because we didn't know much about, you know, passing. People didn't pass them as much. We didn't have as probably the numbers of deer all around the country that we do now. But I'm going to tell you something. One thing that we had that was more important was love, camaraderie, and we had brotherhood, and we didn't have none of this this competition going on, you know, who shoots the biggest deer, and then we bash people for shooting whatever they shoot. You know, I don't like it. And this stuff of, you know, of everybody thinks that they got to be a Bill Jordan, everybody thinks they got to be a Michael Waddell, everybody thinks they got to be a Roger Ragland or anybody like this, and the truth of it is, We're not multimillionaires. Most of us that hunt are not multimillionaires. We don't own thousands of acres of land. We can't afford to go to outfitters in Texas and Canada and all this stuff. So we have to hunt just like, normal people. We got 40, 50 acres, most of us, 60, maybe if you're lucky you get 150, 200 acres, and most of us maybe hunt on 10 or 15 acres. Who knows? But most of us, we don't have the access to hunt. And I'm not saying that's wrong if you do. That's great. Hey, if you got 1,000 acres, that's great, man. That's wonderful. I wished I was you. But most of us don't have access to hunt 150s and 160s and 170s and 180s, But what happens is, and this is the problem that I see, I'm not knocking that. I'm saying if you can do that, hey, great, But the problem is that when people see this on TV, like these wild game motivations or innovations people, when kids see this and when young guys see this now, and people coming up hunting now that's been hunting 5 or 6 years, they feel like they got to do what they do on TV. So they go out there and they pass up a pretty nice buck because they're afraid somebody's going to talk about them, or they'll pass up a jake when they haven't seen, a lot of turkeys, and they say, well, what is somebody going to say? I'm not this. And so they miss that opportunity, right? And a lot of this is because they're afraid of what their friends are going to say, what somebody's going to say. Because I'm going to tell you what happens. And I've seen this on Facebook, and I've seen it in other forums, and I've seen it on other pages, and I don't like it. And it better never happen here, because I'll delete it and I'll run them off of Facebook on this page. Is they bash people for what they shoot. Some idiot will look at somebody that posts a 6-point buck that they shot with their bow or their rifle or whatever, and they're happy. That's what it was, their choice. That's what they wanted to shoot. That they chose to shoot that deer. They chose to shoot that deer for the meat, and because they wanted to take that deer. They'll put it on Facebook. They'll take a picture of it, and some idiot will say, "Well, man, you should have let that grow 2 more years. He'd have been a nice 10, or it should have given 3 more years." Or somebody will shoot a nice, 8, a 110, 115 8-pointer. That's nice for the area they come out of, a 15, 20, 30 acre, 40 acres. And some idiot will say, "Oh, could you imagine what that deer would have been like next year or 2 years from now? He'd have been a 150. And at that moment, it takes that joy from that person because they feel like they did something wrong. They feel like they did something that wasn't right. And that's bad. It's wrong, and you shouldn't do it. Every deer that somebody takes legally with a tag that's legal, it's their choice. They paid for that tag, and you should congratulate them and shake their head. That's what we had in the 80s and the 90s. That's what we had. People, you remember the check stations? We used to go to check, they don't have no more, but I wish they did. But the check stations, we'd all, on opening day, we'd take our deer, check them in, or during the week, and you see all these hunters around the trucks, and they look down, and we'd go to truck, and if it's a small buck or a medium-sized buck or a big buck, we'd shake their hand, congratulate them. "Oh man, tell me the story. Oh, that's great." That was the camaraderie we had. Nowadays, it's like we look at somebody that kills a pretty nice little 8 or 9-point buck, and we go, "Boy, could you imagine what he'd have been 2, 3 years from now?" And at that moment, it takes that joy from that person, and they walk away feeling like, "Man, maybe I should have just passed him." And you take that moment away. It's bad. It's wrong. I've seen people on these turkey hunting forums. Some teenager or some young man will post a jake, and a jake, and there won't be a long beard, and they'll say, "Oh man, you should have waited, should have waited, them gobblers to come." Well, maybe that was the only turkey he saw all week, I mean, that's just wrong. You don't take that feeling from somebody. And this is what we got now, because everybody feels like they got to be a TV star. And let me tell you something. Unless you're a multimillionaire, and unless you've got a ton of money, and unless you got a lot of, and you live in an area of the country that's got a lot of big deer, we're not going to be able to shoot 150s and 140s and 160s and 70s every single year, I mean, and most of us don't live in areas like that. I live in an area that's a great area, but man, getting permission to hunt anywhere that's got big deer, that's not pressured, it's hard. It's very hard. So a deer, now last year I shot, the only buck I shot last year, I shot with my bow November the 4th, and it was about a 120-ish deer, 11-point buck. And guess what? I called that deer in, called him in, rattled him in, called him in to 4 yards under my stand. He was going the other way, like 60 yards. Get out of here, truck. He was going like all the way across the field. I grunted him in, rattled him in, grunted him in, all the way to 4 yards. That memory will live in my head for the rest of my life, calling that deer in. That's a joy to me. But you know what? Even last year, somebody, before I started the page here, this was on my other Facebook page, somebody said, oh, imagine what he'd have been 2 years from now. It don't bother me because I'm mature. But imagine what that would have done to some hunter, you know, other hunters. You know, that would have took that joy away. But what they don't realize is that buck come from a highly pressured area where in the next 3 or 4 days when gun season started, there was going to be red caps everywhere. So, you know, this is why we're having poaching, and this is why you're going to continue to have these poachers and celebrity poaching and poachers, is because everybody feels like they gotta compete, they gotta shoot a big deer, and so it's just bad, okay? And we shouldn't do that. I think it's great that we have the deer quality we have. It's great that we have big deer, but let's go back to the 80s and the 90s to where we can just celebrate each other, and we can be, you know, we don't have to be in competition. You know, just enjoy hunting. Don't feel like that you've got to be a celebrity on TV like Hunter to feel like you're a hunter. You shoot what you want to shoot. If you post a picture on here of a 4-point buck that you shot on opening day of rifle season, guess what? I'm going to say congratulations, that's great, because that's your choice. And that deer was a wild deer that you took legally. But this is wrong, and we need to stop it, because because the way that it's going now, it's just I've seen it for some years now, and I don't like it. I just don't like the direction it's going. So let's, you know, don't look at these people like, oh, well, come hunting season, I've got to be like so-and-so, and I've got to be like so-and-so. No, you know what you hunt, you know the area you hunt, you know, and you know how much time you get to hunt. So guess what? You shoot what you want. You shoot the one you want. It's wrong, it's bad. I'm not knocking nobody at trophy hunts. And listen, I like to shoot a big buck more than anybody else. I've got 5 on my wall right now. And you know what? I like shooting a big deer. I've reached a maturity age to where I don't enjoy shooting a spike horn or unless it's the last day of season or getting close to the season, I ain't filled a tag, and then I worry about getting something in the freezer. But guess what? You know, I've reached that age to where I want a better deer. That's all right. But don't condemn somebody that shoots a deer that maybe not up to your standards. It's wrong, it's bad, all right? So that's just my opinion. And I hope you, if you agree with me, share this video. Let's get the word out, because we're going to have more and more of these poachers if we keep this competition up, okay? God bless you. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I hope to see you in the next video, bow shooting and talking about bow hunting here in the next couple of months. God bless you. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.